Hi family, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking. In today's video, I'll be using 4 mm of rubber beads, 0.4 of fishing line, pair of scissors, the keychain, and C beads. Let's get straight to this tutorial. Alright, so I've cut about 20 inches of the fishing line, or you can cut any line that you can comfortably work with. So I'm going to start by picking 4 of the rubber beads. 4. Then I will use the other end of the fishing line to cross the last bead that I picked. Okay, so after doing that, I will make sure that I place it in the middle of the fishing line. Then I'll continue to pick a bead using one end of the fishing line and pick another also using the other end of the fishing line. In other words, one for each side. So after doing that, I'm going to pick additional bead and cross it with both sides of the fishing line. Alright, I'm going to repeat the step by picking a bead for one side of the fishing line and another for the other side of the fishing line. Then I pick another bead, then cross it. Okay. Actually, I'm randomly picking the bead, so I use one side of the fishing line to pick a bead and use the other side to also pick another bead. Then I pick one last bead, which is the third one. Then I cross it with both sides of the fishing line. Okay, so you make sure that you have 6 beads at the sides of your design, then 7 at the middle of your design. Okay, now after that, you use one side of your fishing line to pick 3 beads. So this is the first bead, the second bead, and the third bead. Okay, now the third bead that you picked, you will use. Okay, so here I have 3 beads. The third bead or the last bead that you picked, you are going to use the other side of your fishing line to cross it. And this will change the direction of your fishing line. So this is what we have here. Okay. Then the same side of the fishing line that you used to pick the beads, you're going to use the same side to pick another bead. So 1, 2, 3. You're going to use the same side to again pick 3 beads. Then you use the other side of your fishing line to cross the last bead or the third bead picked. Then you pull it. Okay, here the direction of your fishing line will change again upward. Then the fishing line that is closer to the sides of your design, you'll be using it to pass through the immediate side bead. Okay, so I just passed my fishing line through the immediate side bead. Then the other side of the fishing line, I will use it to pick a bead, pick another bead, then I cross it with the other side of the fishing line, which is closer to the sides of the design. Like this. Okay, so I just flipped the design. You use the fishing line that is closer to the sides of the design to pass through the next side bead, like what I just did. Then the other side of your fishing line, you use it to pick a bead. You pick another, then you cross it with the other side of your fishing line. It is as simple as that. You continue with the same step by passing your fishing line that is closer to the sides of the design through the next side bead. Then you use the other side of your fishing line to pick a bead and pick additional bead. Then you cross it with the other side of your fishing line. Continue the step by passing your fishing line that is closer to the sides of the bead. Then you use the other side to pick a bead and pick additional bead and cross it with the other side of your fishing line. You then again pass the fishing line closer to the side of the bead, the design, through the next side of the design. Then use the other side to pick a bead and cross it with the other side of your fishing line. Okay, now the last side of your design, you use your fishing line closer to the side of design to pass through the side of the design. But this time around, that same side that you used, you're going to use to pick a bead, another bead, then you cross it with the other side of your fishing line. Okay, so the direction of the fishing line will change from here. Then again, we need to change the direction upward. So you continue to use the same side of the fishing line to pick 3 beads. 3 beads. Now the last or the third bead that you picked, you use the other side of the fishing line to cross it. The last or the third bead that you picked, you use the other side of your fishing line to cross it. Then the direction of the fishing line changes upward. Then direction of your fishing line changes from side to upward. Then you use the side closer to the design, the side of your fishing line which is closer to the design, to pass through the immediate side bead. Then you use the other side to pick a bead. Then you cross it with the other side of your fishing line, just as we did previously. Okay, so you continue to use the other side of your fishing line closer to the design to pass through the immediate side bead. Then you use the other side of your fishing line to pick a bead, pick additional bead, then you cross it with the other side of your fishing line. So basically that's the steps that you're going to follow until we reach our desired design or desired length. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys how I completed it. So just as I said, the basic step that we used is where you're going to finish up with it. So I'll pass my fishing line closer to the design through the immediate side bead. Then I'll use the other side of my fishing line to pick a bead. Then I will pick additional bead and cross it with the other side of the fishing line. Next, I will pass my fishing line, which is closer to the design, through the immediate side bead. Then I'll use the other side to pick a bead, pick additional bead, then I cross it with the other side of the fishing line. So here, this is the last side bead. I pass my fishing line through it. I use the other side to pick a bead, pick additional one, and cross it. We are done with it, so I'm not going to be turning. So you just cross it like that. Then you make sure that you pass your fishing line through the holes in the beads, create a loop, and pull out your fishing line to tie it up. You do same for both ends of your fishing line, or both sides of your fishing line. You pass it through the beads, through the holes in the beads, or the design rather. You pass your fishing line through the holes in the design, create a loop, and pull it out your fishing line. Okay, so this is what we have. So our mini bag is almost formed. I'm going to cut one end of the fishing line. But before then, I'm just passing my fishing line through the beads just to make it more secure. Then I cut off that side of the fishing line, left with one. So I folded my design to create my mini bag. Okay, so you can realize that I have one of the fishing line on the side of the folded design. Okay, now pick a bead and pass my fishing line through the next alternative bead. So I'll pick a bead and pass it through the bead next to the opposite bead of the one having the fishing line. So that is it. I pick a bead and pass my fishing line through the next alternative bead. Okay, so the last hole to close, I pick a bead and pass my fishing line through the alternative bead. Okay, so guys, after that, I'll just be passing my fishing line through the bead to make it more secured before tying it up. So once I'm done, I just pass my fishing line through the holes in the design, create a loop and pull out the fishing line to tie it up. After that, I'll pass it through the bead again. I'll pass it through the bead, then I cut off the excess of the fishing line. Okay, so one side of the mini bag is closed, so I'm going to close the other side. I just cut a piece of fishing line, say 5 to 6 inches long. Then I'll pass it through one side of the design and tie it up. After that, I just pass it through some of the beads before I cut it off. So after that, I will pass my fishing line through the immediate side bead. Then just as I close the other side, I will pick a bead, then pass my fishing line through the alternative bead. Pass my fishing line through the alternative bead to the bead having the fishing line. I'll pick another bead and pass my fishing line through the alternative bead. I'll pick the last one and close the last gap. Okay, so after this, you see my mini bag is formed. So I'll just pass my fishing line through the beads before tying it up. Then I cut off the excess of the fishing line. Now for the handle of the mini bag, I will count the second line of the beads after the top bead. So I'll just count from the beginning 1, 2, 3. So the third bead, I'll pass my fishing line through it. That is where the handle is going to start from. Then I I tie it up by just passing it through the holes, creating a loop, then pulling out the fishing line to tie it up. Then I just pass my fishing line through some of the beads before I cut it off. Okay, so now I'm going to pick one color of the seed beads. So I'm picking gold color. I'm going to pick 10 of them. And after picking 10 of them, I'll pick my key holder or my keychain and pass my fishing line through it. I'm just making sure it's very tight or closed. Then I will continue to pick 10 again, 10 of the seed beads, same color. And counting up to the third bead of the same line of beads, which has its bead hole upward, I just pass my fishing line downwards through the third bead, counting from the side. So after that, I'm going to pass my fishing line through the holes in the design, create a loop, pull it out to tie it up. Okay, so you do same for the other side of your mini bag. You count from 3 of the second line of the design, then you pick 10 beads, you pass it through the keychain and pick another 10 beads. So after picking 10 of the seed beads, you count from the other side 1, 2, 3, the third bead, then downwardly you pass your fishing line through it. After that, you pass your fishing line through the holes in the design and tie it up. So basically that is it. Please guys, remember to subscribe to this channel, click on the notification bell for more videos, like this video, comment down below on what you didn't understand, and please share this video. Thank you.